Hello, good people. It's Brother Jay here. Today, I want us to talk about something really good and really mind blowing. I want us to talk about time. We serve a God of time, but at the same time, He's a timeless God. For the Bible says in the book of Psalms, chapter 90, verses 2 and 4, that before the earth was formed, He existed. 1,000 years is like a day in the sight of the Lord. And so He's timeless, but He's a God of time. Because Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 go and it says, there's a time to cry, there's a time to laugh, there's a time to be born, there's a time to die. So there's everything that we do on earth is all encompassed by time. Everything you do is all about time. God is a time God. For the Bible says, at God's own appointed time, He will do His will for His children. At His own appointed time. So that means God has a time for everything. He's got a time that He does certain things. He's got a time that He blesses certain people. He's got a time that He calls out. So for instance, God can say, you're going to live up to 100. He's given you a time. If you calculate that into time, it will give you so many days, so many hours in those period of years that you're going to live. And so it's a time. When that time is due, He takes the life out of you. And so God is timeless. He's been there. He's been the ancient of days. But then again, He keeps His time. He works with time. The Bible says in the book of Genesis that God created the whole earth and everything in it in 6 days and rested on the seventh. Why did He need to rest on the seventh? Was it significant? Was God really tired on the seventh day, on the sixth day after creating everything? No, just because He works with time. He had planned in His time that He's going to do this within this number of days, and on a certain day, He's going to take the day off and rest. And so when God gave man, He said, 6 days shall you labor, on the seventh day you should rest. Time is really important to God. We're going to be judged according to our time. I'm going to be judged according to my time. You're going to be judged according to your time. And so whatever we use our time for, it's really important. If what we use our time for is the question, do we linger around playing about? Do we lazy about with time? Do we have time to pray? Do we have time to fast? Do we have time to read the scriptures? This when I slept, when I woke up, I was really troubled within my spirit about time. How do I use my time? Do I use it significantly? The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6, it says, you lazy one, go to the ant, consider it ways and be wise. You lazy one, go to the ant, consider it ways and be wise. All it's simply saying is that don't lazy about with time. Use your time resourcefully. Spend time with God. For time spent with God is best spent. Spend precious times with God. Get closer to Him. Get closer to know Him. Use the other times that you've got to do important things that are really relevant, that really matters. Don't just stay in bed and just stay at home on your phone, on TV. All the time you have spare times you have, all the free times you have, you spend them on televisions, on phones. We waste so much precious times on our phones that could have been used to do something really significant for our children, for our family, for our friends, for ourselves, to strengthen ourselves spiritually, to uplift our spirits and our souls to the Most High so that He can bless us. Imagine, if those days of Noah, those days of Abraham and David and Solomon, imagine if they have telephones, if they had all these sources that they had. Do you know? Imagine. Having said that, I can also say that they had things that could have kept them busy from spending time with God, but it was just a matter of choice. They had a choice to choose what time to do, what to do. If you go back to the book of Psalms, when David is praising the Lord and he's saying also, David had time for God, and so God blessed him, and God called David a man of his own heart. And so when we have time, when we spend our time wisely, when we have time for God, when we do the important things at the right time, when we do the things that we need to do with our time, God will bless us, and we'll not just fumble about, messing about with time. Because most important thing I want you to remember, even not for anything today, is that we are going to be judged with what we did with our time. God will judge every one of us. Our whole life is about time. Everything we do is about time. And that is what we're going to be judged on. What we used our time for, what we used our money for, what we used our lives and everything for. May God bless you this morning and be more cautious about your time. Stay blessed. We'll speak again later. Bye.